Hello everyone. Well, I'm having a hard time trying to upload this video, so may God be glorified through it as I upload it through my phone. I gave my life to Christ at the age of 8 years old. And from that time, growing up through adolescence and my teenage stages, I had this desire to know more about God and to learn about Jesus. We had a confirmation class of about 12 people, and out of that 12, a couple of them got killed. One is in prison for life. And so we each had a different journey afterwards. We were all kids together growing up in the same church, the Evangelical Covenant Church. We all wanted to know more about God. We didn't choose at that time to take the paths that we did, but we did take alternative paths. Throughout my childhood, I was well known as a very respectable young man, intelligent, smart. I actually wore suits and carried a briefcase to school, so some considered me kind of nerdy. And I was a captain in ROTC. I was a member of the Future Business Leaders of America. I was nominated Most Likely to Succeed. I graduated number 32 out of 300 and something students. And so people expected me to succeed from the very beginning. But somewhere down the line, I took a wrong detour. My pastor, while I was in the 12th grade, he suggested that I take up courses in seminary, that I go to seminary at North Park Theological Seminary. And at that time, my grandma said that I'm a little too young, so she said that I need more time to think about that. And I decided to go into the U.S. Army. And so while I was in the Army, I took a different turn. One who loved God and was on fire for God. At a young age, I began to drift away. I became distracted with normal life, and I didn't go to church. I didn't pray. I stopped talking to God. So I kind of walked away, what some would say, walked away from my relationship with God. I began to indulge into drugs and alcohol, and I got on this destructive path. And so I fought in the Gulf War. And after the Gulf War, I got real heavy on drugs. I went from marijuana and hashish to snorting cocaine, drinking. I mean, when I got out of the military, I was doing everything that people thought that I would never do, even what I thought I would never do. Some of those things that I did, I said I would never, ever, ever do in my life because my mom and dad were both drug addicts. But thankfully today, my mom is a minister of the gospel. And me growing up in a crack house, I believe it did have some effect on me, but I'm thankful to share the story today that is part of my testimony. So while I was on cocaine, I really didn't enjoy the lifestyle. I wanted to get out of that lifestyle. I said, God, I want to be off these drugs. Please help me, God. I got myself into this, and now I can't stop. I'm addicted, and I cannot stop. I need you. If you don't save me, I won't be saved. God, I want to live right. I want to glorify you. I want to do better for you. My grandmother would always ask me, so what is it that you want to do for God? And I said, I want to be one that God uses to touch thousands of souls for Christ. That was my cry. That was my heart's desire. Although I was high as a kite, walking around with no shirt, no shoes on, standing in front of store corners, begging for quarters, I wanted my way out. I wanted to do right by God. I wanted to be in close relationship with God all over again. So I cried out one day, and I was on my knees and heard the Lord say, get up. And when I got up, I went and flushed the drugs and the alcohol down the drain. And here I am, nearly 12 years, sober and clean, and telling my testimony and studying the Masters of Divinity along with the counseling emphasis for recovery ministry for addictions, trauma, and abuse. So I want to use what I've been through to be able to help someone else, as well as to be an encouragement to people who are facing challenges of any kind. So may God be glorified through my story and encourage someone else. Amen.